Hello there, friends. Today I wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit and actually explain what life coaching is. For me, it's something that I first heard about when I was in college. And when I heard about it, it was because a friend of mine was doing the work to become a certified life coach. And at the time, I wasn't really sure what that was. But from what she described, she said that a life coach is someone who helps somebody in a particular part of transition in their life. Maybe they're going through changes with relationships, with their job. Maybe they're kind of managing some negative thoughts and different patterns in their life. And I knew that what she was doing was to create a kind of new pathway for people in order to improve their life. In fact, she called her business You Improved. And I want to thank Miss Darylyn for first telling me about it a long time ago. So, in today's episode, I'm going to break down what exactly is life coaching and the difference between life coaching and therapy. Stay tuned. Welcome to Life Coaching for Dance Studio Owners. Each week, we talk money, mindset, and self-care to help you live a more peaceful life and lead a more profitable business. Let's get started. All right, so let's get into it. What is life coaching? Now, I talked about in the intro how I learned about it at first when I was in college, but fast forward to now, I am working in a professional field. And for me, I actually engaged in the services of a life coach after trying multiple resources in the dance industry. So for me, I tried different programs for teacher development as a dance teacher myself. I also did several courses, boot camps, workshops, memberships designed specifically for our industry in order to grow and do better, make more money. As a teacher and a dance studio owner. And then I got into some additional resources and learning about business, specifically systems, human resources, all the things. And I kept finding the same thing. I found that there was information out there that was useful, that sure I would learn something, but I wasn't actually getting to the core of what my issue was, of what was holding me back, and then in turn, what was holding my company back from either getting more students, making more money, or feeling more successful. It for me was a turning point when I realized that if you keep chasing um membership programs or masterminds or boot camps and workshops and free webinars, if you keep chasing these things down but you have not actually figured out that core issue that you need to solve for, if you haven't done the thought work to figure out what is going on inside of you and figuring out the root cause of your decision making, of maybe your impulse buying, of high staff turnover, whatever it is, if you haven't figured out that core issue, then it's not that you're wasting your money, but it's that you're not ever going to actually get to change. Real growth and development has to start from actually knowing what the source issue is. And it wasn't until I got into life coaching and joined um, a program where I was getting weekly life coaching, that's when I got it figured out. That's when it unlocked something in me, and I learned what the issue was that was not getting addressed elsewhere, what the heck to do about it. How do I sort out and reconcile the different sources of information that led me to the decisions and the actions that I was continuing to take time and time again that got myself in trouble, that got my business in a difficult financial place? It wasn't until then that I realized what was happening. And so for me, life coaching, first of all, it helped me identify what my core issue was. And The other thing that it did was that it helped me to think about how I got to where I was without judgment, without judging, my family background or where I used to work or the other studios that I worked with before I opened mine. It got me to help me to process, why do I think the way that I think? And then number 3, life coaching got me to a place where I decided to think differently. And that for me was the key. It wasn't enough to go to webinars on how to do dance studio marketing. It wasn't enough to learn about profit first or to hear about strategies for managing my staff. Because first I had to manage myself and my own thoughts. And so through life coaching, I learned about thought work. I learned about managing my mind and my emotions, figuring out for myself how to transform what I was doing on a day to day basis into something that was better aligned with my actual goals and what I wanted. Life coaching also taught me about the possibility formula, where you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what's possible until someone, some other source, shows you what is possible. You see, so many of us get stuck in this place where we believe that we know what the dance studio life looks like. We think, well, I'm going to wear black leggings, I'm going to drink lots of coffee, I'm going to teach more classes than I want to. I'm going to make money, but not enough to really retire or go on vacation. I'm going to be overwhelmed, and we kind of laugh about it. And so we just assume that that's what the life is like because maybe somebody presented that as this is the life. This is what we do. This is what we come together and talk about. You see, if everything that you see on every social media group and every conference is the life of the struggle, is the life of the pain of working with the parents, is the life of having some of your pieces together, but not everything, and quite honestly, embracing the hot mess. And it's not until we see something different that we realize, oh, something else is possible. I remember one time I was in a session and the speaker said, it's the race to 100K. And I kind of thought about, what is she saying? And she was saying that because so many studio owners don't make six figures, that people assume that that's the way it is. And that once she was able to get a studio owner to make 100K in a year, then she knew that they had enough of a changed perspective, that their path to success would be greater simply because they did the work enough to believe that they could make 100K, and then they did it. So, as you can see, the life coaching impact is something that can help you kind of figure out where you're at. And so many of us are kind of lost. We don't know where we're at. We thought we knew what we wanted, but maybe our studio doesn't look like the thing that we imagined when we first started it. Maybe our studio doesn't have the programs and offerings that we imagined, that we hoped for. Maybe we don't adhere to dress code the way we dreamed of. Maybe we're doing things to compromise just to get more customers to be happy. And when you're able to kind of figure out yourself, you're then, and only then, I would argue, then you're able to get your business together. It's hard to imagine a successful business with an owner that is falling apart internally. And that, my friend, is where so many of us are. Our business feels like a hot mess because we believe we are a hot mess. And quite honestly, sometimes we are. I've had my days, my years where I was a hot mess, and it was directly impacting my business. I had a very difficult year in 2016, and when I went through multiple miscarriages and had all these things that were difficult at work happening and all these things, you see, because at that time I was still working my full-time job. I was trying to have a child. I was all these things were happening in the same year. And in that same year, that very same year is when our enrollment tanked, when staffing was falling apart, when I had people on staff that I should have gotten rid of but didn't. I hesitated and things started to just become a mess. And I felt like it's time to close it up. It's time to be done. You see, our health, our mental health, our physical health, and the wealth of our business, they're intertwined. Now, as I talk about this, I want you to think about a time when you have felt a relief, a change, a revelation because of the impact that someone else has had on your life. It could be something you see on TV, a movie, a book. But if you think about that, that's sort of what life coaching feels like. No life coach is going to have the perfect formula. Just follow this Excel spreadsheet and then you will be a success. You see, what life coaching does is it helps you find the answers within you. There is no mastermind program that will fix you or your business. The answers are already inside of you. And so for me, as I got into business coaching, speaking at the conferences, writing blogs, helping other people in the Facebook groups, doing other events and things, I found that I naturally gravitated towards the life coaching end of things. In fact, even when I became a certified financial coach, I quickly could see that financial coaching, sure, you have a skill set that you've learned through the certification. However, the skills that will get you to help someone get on the right track financially involve life coaching, a bit of psychology, and this overall belief in your client that they can and will be successful. You see, the perspective in life coaching is I believe in my client that they can and will be successful. I am not looking to my client to make me successful. I am looking at my client and saying, how can I help them see what's inside of them? It's not my job to make them successful. It's my job to help them see what is already there. My friends, if you're looking outside of yourself, if you are looking outside of yourself for someone else to give you something that you are missing, sadly, I say you're mistaken. You already, by nature of being human, have the value and the skills and ability in who you are becoming to become the person you want to be. There's no magical formula. No coach or mastermind or program is going to be the silver bullet that changes your life. It is you doing the work for you that will make you a success. So, I hope that this helps give you a sense of what life coaching is, what it does. And I also want to touch on something else. I want to say that life coaching can use therapeutic and psychological tools to help people. Life coaching is not therapy. Licensed therapists and life coaches are two different things. So I want to talk about that real quick before I end this episode. So, a life coach can use resources that are based on their life experience and also some psychology tools to help people change their thinking, to increase their emotional well being, to change their limited belief systems, how to reframe past experiences, set and achieve goals, increase self motivation, learning new skills, and changing your self-identity. So, life coaches are present and future focused. They help their clients explore their past, but as a means of understanding their current life and belief systems. And the goal is to help your client look at where you are, where you want to be, and how to get there from point A to point B. Now, here's the difference with therapy. A therapist also helps clients in these areas of their life, but they also can treat mental illnesses, clinical anxiety, and depression. Licensed therapists heal past trauma, cope with traumatic loss or abuse, treating addiction or substance abuse, and cope with relationship turmoil or violence. This is a big distinction. And part of our ethical standing as life coaches is to stay in our lane. We are not therapists. We don't heal your trauma. We don't try to treat addiction. That's not what we do. And so, if you're in a place where you're looking to get help and you're considering a life coach, but you have not addressed maybe some mental illness or um, severe anxiety or depression, it's important to first heal those things, to engage the services of the appropriate professional for the help that you need. Get the help for your addiction. Get the help with this divorce that might be happening and you've got relationship turmoil. Get help understanding and coping with trauma in your life. And then separately and after those things are being handled by that appropriate licensed therapist, then you work with a life coach. Because again, your health has to come first. I hope this episode has helped you better understand what life coaching is, what the outcomes and results are of life coaching, and also the difference between life coaching and therapy. I wish you the very best, and I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey there, if you're finding value in our podcast and want to dive deeper, I'd love to work with you through my coaching program. Together, we can tackle the challenges of running a dance studio and find your path to peace and profits as a business owner. Visit gingerhaithcox.com/coaching and get started today.